Hello, vinyl community. It's Brian here, and today I'm going to do Random Records number 11. Originally, I planned to do one of these every month, but looking back, I realized I did the first episode on January 28th, 2022, and I've only done 10 videos in that time on Random Records, so obviously I did not keep up with my plan. But for those of you who have not seen one of these before, what I do is I use the Random Records generator on the Discogs app on my phone, which you get by shaking the phone. You can do the same thing on your browser and your computer by clicking the random item link, but I'm going to shake my phone. And as I said in the past, if it's a record that I just recently mentioned, very recently, I'll skip it. And for now, I'm going to skip CDs and just stick to records. So I'm going to shake my phone, take a screenshot, I'm going to grab the records, come back here, and hopefully have something intelligent to say about them. So is that it? Yeah, that's it. So here we go. CD. CD. All right. Here we go. And when I get to 5, I will stop and grab them. All right. Is that 5? I think I might have. Yeah. All right. I think I got 5. So hang on. I'm going to get them and come right back. Now I'm back, and sorry that took so long. One of the records was misfiled, so I was looking in the right place, but it was a few records that way, so it took me a while. But here I am. So these are the 5 records that came up using the random item thing from the Discogs app when you shake the phone. And as I've said many times, I'll say it again, that app sucks, and that's the only good reason to use that app is for the random items, which you can do on your computer too. But here they are, in the order that they came up. First is The Stranglers, one of my favorite bands, and this is the collection 1977 to 1982. So this is a compilation that covers the first 8 Stranglers records. There they are on the back. There's the track listing if I can get in the right spot. So you might know Peaches. What else is on here? Golden Brown, Nice and Sleazy, Hanging Around, No More Heroes. A really great comp. Now, of course, this is the Stranglers period right before they sort of merged into that more poppy new wave sound, which I really like Oral Sculpture and Dreamtime I think are fantastic. But this is the sort of early punk sound. Like, it has obviously has keyboards and whatnot, but it has a lot of punk sensibilities. So this is 1982 UK pressing, and if you're interested, that's what the labels look like. A really cool early comp from the Stranglers. Yeah, I don't know how difficult it is to find this. Maybe you can find one. I recommend it. This, however, number 2 here, is a record that might be hard to find, and I'm trying to remember if this came up in a previous video, and I think it might have, but I can't remember. This is Lou Reed, Berlin, live at St. Anne's Warehouse. Recorded December 15th and 16th, 2006 in Brooklyn, produced by Bob Ezrin and Hal Wilner. So recorded in 2006, released on the Matador label in 2008. This is a double record. You can see that there's a big cast of musicians here. So, of course, Berlin being a record that the critics absolutely hated when it came out, and I think in subsequent years they kind of changed their tune. But so this has the entire Berlin record plus Candy Says, Rock Minuet, which is one of 2 tracks from Ecstasy that I don't love, the record from 1999 or 2000, and then Sweet Jane to round it out. Comes on 2 records, polyline sleeves. It's record number 1, and there's a brief insert in here, and you can see that there's a long list of musicians because it has, people on flute, saxophone, bass, clarinet, viola, cellos, etc. And it has the people you might recognize from Lou Reed's career: Fernando Saunders, Tony Thunder Smith, Rob Wasserman. And unfortunately, the only downside for me is that Anthony from Anthony and the Johnsons is on here, a singer I can't stand. He sings the lead on Candy Says and totally destroys that song. I know some people love him and go on about him. I think it's appalling. I've never liked his voice. He also appears on another Lou Reed live record I have, and it just is something I can't get behind it. I just don't like it. But other than that, it's really good. And here we have a 10-inch single from Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, which has 2 tracks. Gotta Get That Feeling and Racing in the Street 78. These are pulled from The Promise, which is the triple vinyl set that came out of unreleased tracks from the Darkness on the Edge of Town record. So there were more songs unreleased than were actually released. This was a Record Store Day item from 2011, so it came out the year after The Promise. And as I say, it's a 10-inch record, so there's 1 track on each side. And I don't know if I got this. I don't think I got this on Record Store Day. I think I got it later, probably for a cheaper price. But it's kind of cool. And the funny thing is, I probably played this once, and then I'm like, bye. Number 4, classic. This is the Pixies' "Come On Pilgrim" from 1987, and this happens to be a Canadian release from '87. You can see the address there, from Saint Laurent, Quebec. This is a mini album from the Pixies, so there are only 8 tracks. Oddly, there is a punch out here, a punch hole, and in my opinion, there's some controversy. Some people say these are promos. I actually think they're remainders, deletes. The same thing happens to books. They put an X on the bottom or a marker on the bottom, and CDs used to have the saw mark. Those are all overstock. Now, why the Pixies would be overstocked in 1987, I don't know. Maybe they hadn't caught on by then, but yeah. Anyway, the big track on here. Big tracks are Caribou, probably Nimrod's Son, the Holiday Song, but a really excellent collection of. Not collection, an excellent early Pixies release, and just excellent. And of course, this has been repressed quite recently, I think. So definitely worth having. And the last thing, which oddly has a strange, and I'm challenging my memory here, but has a strange tie into the Pixies. And this is a band called Angst. This is called Mystery Spot, which is their 3rd record from 1987. This is on SST Records. You might know that as a punk label. People like Husker Du were on it. This is a San Francisco band, and the reason I was thinking about that in relation to the Pixies was that, and I could be wrong here, but I think that Frank Black mentioned Angst as being an influence. So I'm going to have to listen to this again and see if that's true. But I haven't listened to this in a long time, and while it does certainly sound punk in places, there's other tracks that don't really sound punk to me. But the other thing I remember about this is I bought this in a thrift shop. I paid like $1.99 for it, and I remember looking it up on All Music, and it gave them 2 stars, but it gave every single record from this band 2 stars. So I was wondering if I should buy it, but I bought it anyway, and I think it's better than All Music would say. So there's the label, it's the SST logo there. So that's definitely worth having. And I've never seen another record from this band in my entire life that I'm aware of. So if I ever see one, I may grab it just because I have this one. And I think this also is a cutout for a remainder. Clip the corner there. So. Well, there you go. That's 5 records randomly selected from the Discogs app. Did I say Discogs? Discogs app. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.